Welcome back, everybody, to the Jacksonville Jaguars franchise. It is the beginning of Season 5. We are in 2029, coming off a 9-8 season a year ago, where we finally made the postseason for the first time in the franchise. Now, we made some big changes in the offseason, and none greater than trading away our star receiver. We have granted Eli Arrington's trade request, and he is now a Miami Dolphin, where he is their #1 rated player, 92 overall at 25 years old. He is going to miss the first game of the year, most likely, for Miami. And we are not slated to meet up with him this year. The Dolphins are not on the schedule. So unless there is a postseason meeting, the revenge game opportunity is going to have to wait. In the meantime, trading away Eli Arrington allowed us to gather in some picks. We acquired 2 first-rounders and spent one of those on Kevin Parker, who is going to be asked to replace Eli Arrington. And those are big shoes to fill. Arrington is one of the best young receivers in the league. But I do want to make a little comparison between the ratings of Day 1 Eli Arrington and now Day 1 Kevin Parker, our 10th overall selection. And truly, the ratings are not all that different. And remember that Arrington had star development, won Rookie of the Year, and got the bump up to superstar. Can we see something similar now play out with Kevin Parker? I can't wait to find out. A few years ago, we made Chuck Johnson a 6th-round pick simply to be an intriguing backup quarterback. I thought there was a chance he could become a starter, and that low percentage chance has actually been realized. But now, much like we're seeing with Brock Purdy in the NFL currently, that late-round pick does not stay an underdog forever, particularly when they are due to receive a new contract. And this season is a contract year for quarterback Chuck Johnson. During the last few years, we've had the luxury of extra cap space because our quarterback is making barely $1 million this year, under $1 million in years past. This is the final season, if Chuck Johnson sticks around, that we will have that rookie scale quarterback cap situation that has fueled many a rebuild since the CBA that was signed after, 2010 into 2011? And yes, right now I do assume we are going to re-sign Chuck Johnson to a long-term extension. It's become a tradition lately in the series to stream the preseason and see what storylines emerge as a result. I love that this is back as a part of my rebuild franchises, to see players we normally don't watch very much of. Players that end up making an impact. That is where Chuck Johnson got his foot in the door to be our starting quarterback. The preseason is part of the Jaguars franchise playlist that I always link down below in the description, where you could start the series from day 1 and watch everything that's led us to this point. But here's what happened in the preseason. Quarterback stats are solid. Johnson did have a couple bad INTs. And this year's backup is Baker Mayfield, who I thought played great in the preseason and allowed us to showcase a lot of young players. Now, the running game didn't have a very successful preseason at all, as Chuck Johnson was our leading receiver. Joe Johnson had 46 yards on the ground, and some changes I made in the offseason are going to directly benefit him as a power running back. Adding Sam Cosmi at right guard gives us a very high-level interior player that should boost the running game that was only passable for most of last season. I drafted Dominic Grenard in the 6th round to give the offense a true fullback. I think he's versatile and can potentially add a lot to this offense. I also added new formations and plays to utilize the fullback. And in most cases, when that personnel is called upon, Joe Johnson is going to be the ball carrier. And this year, the backfield is going to be led by he and Benji Cormier without another veteran on the roster right now. I don't have a lot of running back highlights, as the yardage suggests, but these two are going to split, and I think the fullback addition, The game plan adjustments will allow us to divvy up those carries much nicer between the two second-year running backs. I did try to bring in some competition for a third running back in Joey Howard, who has really good speed. 94 speed, I was intrigued with that, but wow, I thought Joey Howard was maybe the worst player on the team in preseason. He didn't show any ability to create yardage, and his vision didn't look very good. He is not making this team. So on our initial 53-man roster, CJ Merriweather is going to make it simply because he has been good enough to make the roster in the past, and Howard had no way of beating him out. But let's talk about receivers. The fact that I'm streaming preseason allows us to see a lot of things we otherwise would not. And if you were to hand out an award this year for, like, a lower on the depth chart player that really broke out and left a strong impression, that would have to go to Caleb Davis, who had 16 catches, 191 yards, and a pair of scores in the preseason. And that kicked off with a 9-catch game in the first matchup against Green Bay. Davis, I have a bunch of highlights for him to share. He simply gets open, has reliable hands, and he is a good slot receiver. I'm going to have to give him some regular season snaps to see if this success carries over. He was that good. Now, with the trading away of Eli Arrington, that means Brian Thomas Jr. is now the team's #1 receiver, which he was ultimately drafted to be. He's an excellent downfield playmaker, we know that. And I think his route running is going to be good enough for him to be productive throughout the season, although I would like these ratings to be higher. But now with no Arrington on the roster, we're going to see what Thomas can truly handle workload-wise. But, of course, I've spent a first-round pick on a replacement for Eli Arrington, and that is Kevin Parker, who initially should be a very good underneath option. In the preseason, I thought that his playmaking skills easily stood out, but as a rookie, I could see some growing pains. The route running isn't all that high right now. Catching traffic is only a 77. We're going to rely a lot on his athleticism while everything else is leveled up. And then I thought the signing of Dontavian Wicks was an important one for us in free agency, to add a reliable veteran pass catcher who can handle catches in traffic. We saw Wicks in the playoff game that ended our season last year. He caught the game-winning touchdown, and now he's on our team. And I have changed his number to 82, as I wanted Luke McCaffrey to keep the number that he's had the last couple years in the franchise. Now, I don't have anything to talk about with McCaffrey, as I didn't play him all that much. I wanted to see Davis more, along with one of our later draft picks in Reuben Ross. I don't think Ross is ready to step in immediately unless this team had a really bad record. The route running isn't there. The catching ability is just not there. He has really good skills with the ball in his hands, and he's going to kick return right away, but he probably won't contribute on offense until year 2 or year 3 for him. We drafted 2 playmakers in the first round, the second being tight end Thomas Ridley. Now, it was disappointing to see that on day 1, he has normal development coupled with very low route running, and for those reasons, he is not going to be an immediate #1 tight end starter. I want him to develop. In the meantime, we have Curtis Easley, who we've come to know in this series as a very good playmaker, but also a guy who struggles to stay on the field. So chances are, players like Ridley will see a lot of playing time, even if they're not listed as the #1 right away. There is also Joe Wilder. And you could argue right now that Wilder is better than Ridley, as he's a more explosive athlete, has better route running. But Wilder does have a better ceiling right now, being a couple years younger. Still, early in the year, I tend to play the players that I think give us the best chance to win. We are a win-now organization, not necessarily a rebuilding one, so whatever it takes to win is what we're going to do. The offensive line as a whole, I'll say, played really well in the preseason. We did not see like an excessive amount of pressure or sacks whatsoever, and the quarterbacks were all able to make plays. Defensively, Devin Lloyd led us in tackles. We had Danielle Hunter pick up 3 sacks, while Jermaine Johnson had 2.5. Those are the 2 veteran edge rushers I added for extra depth. You'll notice we recorded a ton of sacks in the preseason, and a big reason is because against Tampa Bay in that final preseason game, we recorded 12 sacks. It was just one after another, absolutely relentless. But if there's anyone to single out specifically as someone we need to have a good year, it is cornerback Stanley Billups. Now in his second year, he is going to be a starter replacing Tyson Campbell. I could go out right now and sign Jalen Ramsey if I wanted a higher rated cornerback. He's like an 82 or 83. But now is the time to see, what do we have in Billups? If he's ranked as the number 69 cornerback, sure, that's nice. That puts him as a borderline number 2, number 3 cornerback. And I thought he had some good moments in the preseason. Now we see if it carries over. Our second round pick was spent on a player who has perhaps the second highest ceiling of anybody we drafted in the offseason. Joseph Bowen had 5 tackles and a sack in the preseason. I'm not sure we're going to see a lot of highlight caliber plays out of him early. He's a run stopper first, but I think the pass rush can be developed, but it might take a little time. But he will see a lot of playing time as a rookie. By the way, I like the way that the progression and everything has been handled in this series. As I've seen the players develop, I've seen the free agent classes. I've actually been really happy with it. This is all I have. I plugged these in early, and I forgot what I even had here. I thought I had edited like the regression sliders, but really all I've done is change the age progression so that it's even more skewed toward the youngest players getting a little extra development. And once players reach 26 years old, they develop at a much slower rate. And I really like what it's done for the league, despite being a very simple approach. I think we've seen a number of great players develop, veterans regress, and I really like where the league is overall. There aren't an excessive amount of 99 overall players or even 90 plus players, but those with the development and the production still have a path to getting there. I get so excited now to start up these new seasons. This series has been one of the most refreshing I feel I've done, especially when it comes to like series I do typically on a yearly basis. This one just has such a different feel than previous franchise rebuilds, and it's my favorite thing to spend time on right now, content-wise. It is a really fun series with a lot of great stories and potential for even more to pop up. A nice upgrade here for Kevin Parker, getting 3 medium route running. He's now a 76. Now, something else to keep in mind with Parker is he has the team player personality. Eli Arrington had leader, but he was still complaining when he didn't get the football. He at one time tried to convince us to change quarterbacks. So we'll see what happens with Parker. If he develops into a star, what kind of scenarios do we get regarding him? Ideally, there wouldn't be any scenarios, but who knows what's going to happen. I will be clicking on some of them from time to time. And ultimately, what motivates Kevin Parker? No income tax. Just like Eli Arrington, he wants a warm weather state. We're in Florida. And then historic championships. Jaguars do not have that on their side, but do have 2 out of 3 in pretty good shape, and those won't change. So once again, we'll go into the year with 2 quarterbacks on the roster. We are cutting Joey Howard and only having 3 running backs right now, but that could change. Julian Singh is going to be on the practice squad as we'll go with these 6 receivers. We are releasing a former draft pick of ours. This is Jeremiah Sheffield. 5th rounder James Phelps was overdrafted. We are sending him to the practice squad. We will take 6 cornerbacks into week 1, including Dudley Alexander, an undrafted player who happens to have star development. And we only have 1 injury going into the new year. It is Josh Hines-Allen, who's going to miss just week 1 with an abdominal injury. These are the 6 focus players receiving extra experience. We have 4 rookies, along with offensive linemen Jelani Swain and Trayvon Briscoe. These 2 might get changed out over time, but we're developing these rookies, of course, like we typically do. Oh, come on. We just got our fullback, and he's not going to play in week 1. Grenard is out. And here is the starting lineup going into Season 5, Week 1. I still think LaDamian Bigby is better than Martin Siechkowski, who is a potential trade option for us. He is a free agent at the end of the year and does not want to return. Dontavian Wicks will take a lot of snaps early on while Parker gets his first couple upgrades, but I imagine by the end of the year, Parker will be wide receiver 2. But he will open as our day 1 slot receiver, so he will have a major role. We are also going to see Martin Cooper rush a lot from the interior. We don't have a great pass rush presence there outside of Jonathan Moore. And when we're fully healthy, we have Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, Martin Cooper, and we have to find ways to get all 3 on the field. Sometimes I've played Walker inside. Now it's become Cooper, as Walker seems to be much better as a pass rusher on the edge. Defensively, Ezra Telfer, J.D. Short are going to be the starting cornerbacks, but Ezra Telfer is still going to be a slot, and that means in 3 wide sets, we're going to see Stanley Billups play on the outside. At linebacker, Devin Lloyd, Chuck Dalton, Devon Lewis all going to play, but Zach Bond might see more snaps than the other 2 young linebackers because his coverage is just that good. He's listed as our second sub linebacker as a result. It's also time to check out an entirely new draft class with a lot of offensive tackles rated inside the top 10. Thad Wyatt is your number 1 ranked player. This is supposed to be an excellent wide receiver, defensive tackle, and cornerback class. Weak though at center, inside linebacker, and left end. Only 1 quarterback is rated inside the top 45 players right now, so there could be a lot of teams who want to try and draft Jared Davis. It's a great year to go first round tackle, which I think is building up as a possibility for us, depending where our first round picks land. Remember, we own Miami's first rounder, and we have plenty of draft capital to pursue a trade-up, and there could be a need at tackle in future years. This would be the year to address it. It looks like a much better defensive tackle class than many we've seen recently. However, we just drafted Joseph Bowen. We have Jonathan Moore, who is set to be a free agent and likely could come back, but it might make sense to see how good this class truly is at D-tackle. Here's how scouting is set up this year. Our 3-star scout is in the southeast looking at tackles. Our national scout is focused on defensive tackle in one of the strongest classes we've had in the franchise. And then you'll notice 2 more receiver scouts. It is just where these regions are strong. And it's never a bad idea to have a lot of receiver data to see if there's someone that really fits a role you're looking for. I don't think it's a need, but it's where these regions are strong. And for the West, we go with safety, as that was an intriguing spot there. At this point, I'm not really tailoring our scouting toward our needs as much. On the higher end, like our national scout, sometimes that's going to be one of our greatest needs I want the most info on. Otherwise, though, just kind of a BPA approach and let the pieces hopefully fall in place that way. Interesting storyline here, starting cornerback. What is this one? The athletic trainer told me to ask you about what you want me to work on during camp. Camp is over, Ezra. I hope you're aware of that, but injury prevention is never a bad thing. Man, how nice would that be to pop up for Curtis Easley at tight end? Let's go see what the media wants to talk about. I had a scenario during the stream I did for the preseason where we talked about defense, and one of our goals this year as a team is to get to 40 sacks. I'm going to say our defense is stronger, primarily because I want her to ask about the offense now. What part of the offense worries me the most? It's probably the running game, because it wasn't great last year. We are still developing the linemen. We have 2 second-year running backs. Can I be more specific? I'm going to put this on the halfback position this year. A good season statistically. Is this like total? Cormier 10 touchdowns or rush for 1,300? Well, I mean, running for 1,300 doesn't even sound all that great. It has to be around 90 a game, I would assume. which in Madden, the way the sim stats go and the way things end up, like I don't think 1,300 is actually all that bad. 1,300 yards would be worst in the NFL last season. Worse than the Raiders, who had an average of 79.8 yards per game last season, IRL, which is 12 yards lower than the next team at 31, the Jets. Joey Harper's the player that we could potentially be trying to replace in the near future. He's a good player, but he doesn't have a ton of interest in coming back. Next year, his cap hit skyrockets into the 20s, but we may eventually need to trade him or overpay to keep him. It's one of the two. It's also an important year for guys like Sergio Baxter to solidify their starting role, because Baxter is a normal dev player, not yet an 80, so he has to convince us not to go and draft a safety if our West Coast scouting shows us there's intrigue out there. Last little bit of housekeeping here. We have the staff points to spend, and we can upgrade our offensive line further with run block power. Definitely boosting it up for our guards. I think I'll go all 3 levels on that. And once we get 48 again, we can improve everybody's strength, which is important in the running game. All right, a lot of stuff to set things up for week 1. Hope you guys are excited for the beginning of year 5 in the Jaguars franchise rebuild. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, do that now. If you like notifications when new videos come out, I understand if you don't. The bell is there. You'll know as soon as episodes are dropped. But we open the year against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Minkah Fitzpatrick, George Pickens, Alex Highsmith, Pat Freiermuth. Who's the quarterback? It is Gerald Cameron. Their quarterback of the future. As a normal dev player, they are finding success, and he has carved out a really good strength with his short and medium accuracy, standing out above the rest. He's only in year 2, and he had 37 touchdowns last year. I believe 5 or 4 of those came against us. We had like a 3-game stretch where we just didn't know how to play defense anymore, and that was about the time Gerald Cameron got to face us. Oh yeah, we have trade offers for Martin Siejkowski. I wonder how much he's valued. I mean, a 78 overall center is solid starting caliber. Underwhelmed by the immediate offers, but that's something I'll probably be exploring. Otherwise, I can hold on to him if I think the depth is important. Anytime a guy gets hurt and you can plug someone in who has like 80 plus pass blocking in all categories, that is obviously a big win. He's just not a very good run blocker. But let's get it underway. There is Benji Cormier. Hoping to see big things out of our running backs this season. Realistically, what are my goals? I would like to see us be a more efficient running game. Johnson and Cormier, both over 4.2 yards a carry, would feel really good. Yardage-wise, maybe more like 1,400 to 1,500 yards would feel like a success. But more than anything, I just want to see an offense remain productive despite losing Eli Arrington. He's been with us every step of the way in the franchise until now. In year 5, we blaze a new trail, and the season is underway. It is returned by Caleb Davis across the 25. He's back there along with Reuben Ross. And here comes the one and only Chuck Johnson. We open with Cormier in the backfield. And wide left is Brian Thomas Jr. as we start. And it's complete underneath, going to Benji Cormier, a 9-yard catch. Hand off. It is Cormier. Doesn't get much, but moves the sticks. Johnson back to pass. It is Brian Thomas Jr. His first of the year goes for a 10-yard gain. When we do go to our formations that utilize the fullback, we're actually going to have Thomas Ridley there. I don't really have a second fullback option, but he's a 250-plus pound tight end, so that's the next best thing. 2nd and 6 inside of Pittsburgh territory. Play fake Chuck. And And it is incomplete. Kevin Parker couldn't hold on. And no rebound. 3rd and 6, Chuck Johnson drives it over the middle. Parker inside the 20. Welcome to Jacksonville. His first career catch puts us in the red zone. 32 yards. And immediately our top goal is to see him produce and have a chance at Rookie of the Year in Season 1. An opening drive red zone trip. Cormier gets a couple. Benji Cormier, big hole opens up, and he gains 7. Play action, it is Johnson under pressure and taken down way back at the 19. 3 on the board for Jacksonville, and now a look at our defense against Gerald Cameron, and it's a handoff. With this being one of the best run defenses the last handful of years, I'm still expecting that to be really good. But we move on from Vita Vea, and our greatest addition is a rookie who is going to see a lot of day one playing time. Here's Judge, who is fresh off of a Rookie of the Year award here with the Steelers. Didn't have a tremendous season, but somebody had to win it, and he did. 3rd and 2, Cameron, wide open, first down. Good protection, Cameron, it is caught. Stanley Billups there with good coverage. So we're seeing right now Billups, he's outside, Telfer, the slot. J.D. Short is at top of the screen. Big run now opening up, Judge inside of our 40. Keeping it on the ground, Trayvon Walker makes the play. I simply think he plays his best out on the edge. So I do have Martin Cooper, who's going to be getting a lot of these inside snaps, and we'll keep an eye on if he's holding up there or if we need to put a traditional D tackle on the field. That is a hit from Sergio Baxter that sets up 3rd down. Only a 3-man line, but we send 5. Cameron downfield and overthrown with good coverage from Billups. And Pittsburgh will pass on the 54-yard field goal. And we get it back. I moved Joe Johnson to the RB1 spot just to see if we start seeing a better split between the 2 running backs. All Cormier so far, he gains 5. Ideally, they'd both be getting, multiple snaps on each possession, unless it's the 2-minute where it's going to be Cormier primarily. Just got that away. It's the first catch for first rounder, Thomas Ridley, number 83. Joe Johnson, his first carry is a solid one, and he's a guy that if he can just get a crease, he has difference-making athleticism as a power back. So here we see Ridley as the fullback, helping lead, but nowhere to go for Joe Johnson. Play fake on 3rd and 2, and complete. There's Curtis Easley. No changes to the injury slider. I do think that at 30 we are getting interesting results that I don't think go too far in most cases. Kicked up, incomplete for Dontavian Wicks. Why couldn't he have done that in the division round last year? Very good protection, and Johnson takes off beyond the 50, has the first, and takes it all the way to the Pittsburgh 30. Again well protected and wide open, Brian Thomas Jr. Over the middle, caught by Joe Johnson. I may have to start giving him some receiving upgrades this year so that he doesn't have a crucial drop in a spot we need him. The fake to Joe Johnson, dumped off, Ridley to the 2. We're not trying to replace Arrington with one guy. It is a team-wide approach on display on the first 2 drives. Here's the pitch and the touchdown. Joe Johnson finds the end zone. There were some excellent blocks on this play. I was worried seeing it as a toss. Well, let's run that back. Easily gets out there And how about the block by LaDamian Bigby, the center getting out there? A lot to like from the opening minutes of the season. Jonathan Moore picks up our first sack of the year. Wow, the Steelers just scored a 50-yard touchdown out of nowhere to Terrence McCoy. Just had a drop by Kevin Parker, followed up by a 26-yard catch to Easley. Joe Johnson had simulated runs on this drive of 6, 6, and 7. Good to see some steady production. Here's Chuck Johnson out of bounds at the 5, Dontavian Wicks. Down goes Chuck Johnson on this 2nd and goal. It is the 4th sack already for the Pittsburgh front. Didn't seem like we were giving up excessive pressure early on, but the stats say what they say. Chuck Johnson sacked again. 3 consecutive plays in the red zone. And this is sometimes where you miss a premier talent. The guys who can get open down in the red zone when the field is condensed. Big play again for Pittsburgh as they are looking to take their first lead of the game. It was Terrence McCoy again. A 50-yarder and a 25-yarder. Cameron has them driving. They're going to run this to the outside. 3rd and 2 Steelers. Cameron underneath. First down. I do have Joseph Bowen on the field here. I think that makes sense, especially down in the, not quite the red zone, but we're in that area. That's knocked away. 2nd and 10. Trayvon Walker picks up the sack. Pocket pushed and sacked again. Trayvon Walker gets back-to-back. After 3 consecutive 5-sack seasons, Walker is no longer a superstar development player, but already has 2 sacks here this season. Jaguars go 3 and out, though, and give it right back to Pittsburgh. Same situation, heavy pressure, and they counter it. This is trouble with Mitchell inside the 20. Keaton Mitchell is their speed back wearing 37. Here's Cameron under pressure again. Wrapped up for the sack by Martin Cooper. 2nd and 20 and hit again. And this is all without our top edge rusher, Josh Hines-Allen. 3rd and 20 Pittsburgh. Cameron, better protection, airs it out and off the mark. We're playing extremely tough defensively. Still work to do on offense. 13-10 late 3rd. To the air with Chuck Johnson. To the outside, easily the catch. First down. Joe Johnson the carry. He runs up the middle at full speed for the first down. 52 yards on 10 carries. Now we see Cormier check in. It's his turn. And Cormier slips a tackle, gaining 7. Johnson up the middle again. Another big pickup and a great start to his 2nd year. Chuck Johnson bats, caught by Parker, turns it upfield and brings it inside the 10. Got out of a tough situation on that play. Can they finish it now? Again, Ridley's in as the fullback. Up the middle goes Johnson, getting to the 5. Brian Thomas is the only receiver on 2nd down. Johnson gets the lane, gets the touchdown, his 2nd of the day. This is what we were hoping to see from him as a rookie. And just check out the blocks here that spring him. That's Harper and Easley clearing the path. An easy touchdown. 6:39 left to go. Pittsburgh is backed up. This is trouble against our rush. Cameron gets it away. And they're out to the 19. The fake to Keaton Mitchell over the top. Cameron knocked away by Baxter. Pressure picked up. Cameron completes it, and they get 9. 3rd down and inches. It's converted despite the tight coverage. Pressure getting through. Cameron counters it. Seeing us bring a lot of pressure, but not here. 3rd and 1. It's overthrown again by Cameron. He's missed far too many throws in this game, but Pittsburgh's going to leave the offense out. Looks like running back is Kendrick Judge now. 4th and a full 1. They'll pass. Down goes Cameron. 6 sacks for the defense. This time, Devon Lewis. What a start for the Jaguars, going on the road into Pittsburgh and playing a really strong all-around game. Chuck Johnson is rolling, up 10, and he is in. Touchdown, Jaguars, as they look to wrap up a Week 1 victory. Very strong performance. Not many mistakes made by the Jaguars in this game. We played to our identity. We win comfortably. A much better day against Gerald Cameron than the last time we saw him. And without Eli Arrington, Chuck Johnson throws 20 of 27 for 236 yards. And we ran the football much better than in many games last year. Only 6 carries now for Benji Cormier, so I'll be working on this halfback split. But really good success with Joe Johnson. I'm not mad at him getting all of these carries if he plays this well. Curtis Easley, 6 catches. Terrence McCoy, 5 for 101. Rookie Kevin Parker, 3 for 58. I think games like that are really promising. That's a lot of yardage. 58 a game will put you close to a 1,000-yard season. And then Thomas Ridley, 2 for 14. But I think the story is that this defense getting 6 sacks without Josh Hines-Allen shows just how strong they can be. Trayvon Walker and Jonathan Moore each pick up a pair of sacks, and Ezra Telfer collects an interception. Trying to put Trayvon Briscoe at an 80 overall. We do it. And he's getting a 3-point boost right now, with probably more on the way once I can address strength. He apparently lost 3 morale for allowing 2 sacks. They did have a 2.5 sack performer, and they credited that to Briscoe. And we have the game of the week here in Week 2. It is the Monday night game against the New York Jets. We also have the debut of Eli Arrington in Miami to check on. Let's go talk to the media and see what some of our best friends have to say. We're very happy with how the players battled. Who deserves the most credit? I think you have to go with the defense in this case. I guess you could manipulate your answers to just determine who you want to get boosts, but I try to answer these in whatever seems like the right answer to me. But I think you got to go with Trayvon Walker. I mean, he took over that game early on, had a couple sacks, TFL on a run play. So our defensive ends are getting a boost, as if they needed it after a game like that. I'm not entirely sure what the long-term future is with LaDainian Bigby. His ratings are not excellent, but when we're playing, it seems like he holds his own as the starting center, and that's why I haven't really challenged it, and I guess I won't until I have to. But eventually he'll need a new contract, and then it'll be decision time. Let's upgrade Joe Wilder next, our now 3rd tight end, who I still think could have a good future with this team. The offensive lineman I'm really trying to invest as much as we can into is Jelani Swain, whose pass protection is really impressive and continues to be one of the best on our team. And I'll continue to focus on, mostly I think pass protection with his upgrades. And here we have Benji Cormier, and we'll go with elusive back for his first upgrade of the season. Getting some juke, broken tackle, ball carrier vision. He is the number 18 ranked running back in the league right now. That's pretty high. The Jets have some excellent players atop their roster. Sauce Gardner is a 99, Breece Hall a 94. They have quarterback Brett Searles. He is their quarterback of the future, also at normal development. Very good medium accuracy, 99 throw power. Interesting skill set here, not one that I think is particularly common. And can we follow up our dominant Week 1 win with another quality victory inside the AFC? Down below, Anthony Richardson just had a 6-touchdown game against the Bengals. Could the Colts be back to their winning ways this season? We shall see. Big pickup again to Curtis Easley, who already this year has 3 catches of 20+. Jaguars march down, 22-yard touchdown, Brian Thomas. Great start. But the Jets have plenty of firepower in their offense with Xavier Bullitt joining Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. Oh, and DJ Moore, too. He scores a touchdown. In the second quarter, New York scores a 23-yard touchdown with Xavier Bullitt to take the lead. Jacksonville down 7. This is Cormier, who gets only a couple. Yeah, managing this carry split continues to be a tough challenge. He's only carried twice. Johnson in now on second down. It's a fake for Chuck Johnson and a loss on the play for Easley. Sticks protecting. Easley hit short again. New York with the advantage. Searles hands and trying to dance outside is Hall, who has only ran for 25. Now a lot of pre-snap movement. That goes against the home team. Brett Searles, 2 touchdowns, 241 yards already. 13 first downs for New York and only 4 for Jacksonville. Most of those on the opening drive. This is 3rd and 10. Kept clean. It is deflected. Devin Lloyd so instinctive. He's in the right place without even knowing where the ball is. He had his back turned. Trying to work away from our own 8. And the offense just hasn't been able to build upon a good opening possession. Only 123 yards to this point. Taking off is Chuck. Eyeing the first down. Across the 30. Where is the defense? Chuck Johnson runs through Gardner. I mean, when he can just pull out a 40-yard run like that, he is just different. It's almost never by design, but Chuck Johnson makes the most of his scramble chances. First down, intercepted! Wow, still catching his breath, I assume, after a 40-yard run. He just misses the little dump-off pass to Kevin Parker. There it is again. Just overthrown, and maybe he didn't get through the traffic there very cleanly. That always leads to some errant throws, or they throw it like the guy was never going to be impacted. Seems to be part of the issue. So it's going to have to be a great fourth quarter for our Jags to go 2-0. They motion out Breece Hall. Searles the other way. Nice grab. First down. Hall carries, and he has space. A gash of the defense to the 14. A red zone trip. Searles fires, and it's caught inside the 5. Garrett Wilson. Picking up the pressure is Hall, and that allows Searles to throw the touchdown pass to Captain Xavier Bullitt. Jets up 2 touchdowns. We've looked like 2 totally different teams to open the year. Fourth quarter underway. Chuck Johnson over the middle. Could have been picked again. Well protected. Chuck fires. Wide open! And he dropped it. A hit delivered at the end on Benji Cormier. And it's 4th down. 26 yards on 3rd and 8 to Garrett Wilson. That's just the kind of day this one has been. 52-yard field goal. We tried to push him back. We picked up back-to-back sacks, but it's not enough. 17-point game. This one's about done. Intercepted Sauce Gardner. Touchdown. And we let the backups get the last 4 minutes of garbage time as the Jets have humbled us 31-7. As good as things looked after week 1, they are just as bad after week 2. Brett Searles, 30 of 33, 335 yards and 4 touchdowns. Yeah, our defense got absolutely shredded, and we did not have that same pass rush success. Our running backs combined for 27 yards on 9 carries in this game. We just gave up on it. 4 sacks on the year for Jonathan Moore is a pretty incredible start, though. Especially for a player that is normal development and is in a contract year. I am probably going to drag out the decision on Moore to see if he can get the bump up to star development. That would make me a lot more interested in a large contract, because good defensive tackles are not coming back on the cheap. Jonathan Moore is looking at about $20 million right now. And the main reason I want to wait is because development could impact the number of years I'm willing to offer. A lot more if it's star development than normal. Something else to keep in mind, J.D. Short is at normal development, but we know he's a good player. He also doesn't have a lot of interest in coming back. So we may have to significantly overpay if we want him to return, or be prepared to see him go elsewhere. Chuck Johnson needs to be better than he was in that last game. I am seeing improviser as his lead archetype, so I'm going into scrambler, although it didn't seem he was playing any differently. 3 under pressure, 1 short, 1 throw on the run, so it is his lead archetype again, but they're all very clustered. That doesn't usually happen. Now we go out of conference. It is our first home game of the year against Seattle. Seattle comes in 0-2 as we try to put an ugly loss behind us. After scoring opening drive touchdowns in weeks 1 and 2, this week, interception Devin Witherspoon. Next possession, a very good balanced drive that sees us get a Brian Thomas touchdown. Seahawks are able to retake the lead just before halftime and score again to open the third quarter. This is a little concerning now. The team just kind of reeling right now. Seattle up 17-7. It is Justin Rice. He completes it to DK Metcalf. Fakes to Metcalf on the jet. And then Metcalf the catch, but no first down. Aggressive. I like it on 4th and 1. A chance to really put us away. Rice to the air. Caught. First down, Seattle. Well protected and complete again inside the 5 to Baskerville. Kenneth Walker is the running back. He gets, it's Rice keeping, and Rice has the touchdown. And Seattle is essentially doing to us what the New York Jets did. So what is going on with this Jaguar offense? We are just unproductive right now. And down goes Chuck Johnson. On 2nd and 18, leaving the pocket and not escaping Karlaftis. Sacked again. Heavy pressure on 3rd down. Chuck Johnson desperately throws incomplete. And that's Kenneth Walker just run right down the field. Suddenly, some big concerns for this offense. What has happened these last 2 weeks? 3 minutes left to go. Hard to see us even cutting this to a 1-score game. Underneath to Kevin Parker. It's a good catch and run for the rookie. Swung out to Joe Johnson, who is limited to 6. Chuck gets it away and drops it off to Wicks, who's been very quiet. It's possible we may need to shake some things up. Maybe Parker in the slot is not giving us enough good looks for Johnson. He dumps this outside. It is complete. The offensive line is what it is. There's not much I can do there besides throw Sichkovsky back into the starting role. Nice grab made by Thomas now inside the 20. 8 in coverage. Johnson sprinting away and running inside the 10. 1st and goal. Dumped off. And Parker's first touchdown will have to wait. On second down, dumped short and did not get it. Johnson, end zone for Dontavian Wicks. Touchdown Jaguars, cutting this to a 2-score game. An onside kick now for Brandon Aubrey. Nice leaping pickup, and that is going to do it. Jacksonville is going to fall for the second consecutive week and open the season with a 1-2 record. Both losses extremely disappointing. Not even the heartbreaking down-to-the-wire losses we've encountered so many times in the franchise. And now a team searching for answers before the season spirals further out of control. Chuck Johnson held to 6.1 yards per attempt and really unable to hit anything downfield. A long of 16 yards. My immediate reaction is to put somebody else in the slot that is higher rated, be it Wicks or Brian Thomas. That's the easiest solution to upgrade a key spot on the team. But for the second straight week, we basically abandoned the run. And Thomas is already working underneath. He had 10 catches today, none longer than 15 yards. So I don't think putting him in the slot is at all the answer. I think you put Wicks in the slot and try to get, some more athleticism out there on a regular basis on the routes that stretch the field and defense more. Jonathan Moore has a sack, but also got injured, and that has also been a bit of his career story to this point. He's dealt with a lot of injuries, but this year, extremely productive start. Hopefully it's not serious. Torn labrum 3 weeks, and he's our only injured player right now. So, to end this episode, not a good stretch of games. Is this just 2 bad performances, or is it a sign of things to come? We have only scored 16 points a game, and our pass production is abysmal right now. So that's the first thing we try to address. But the defense hasn't been great, but that's also affected by the poor play of the offense. The Jaguars open with a 1-2 record. Meanwhile, we have the Miami Dolphins, who are 2-1. Ben Colvin is the quarterback. What happened to Tua? Tua has a fractured hip, and he's almost out for the year. Wow. He must have gotten hurt then in preseason. Tua Tagovailoa might not return until the last weeks of the year. Ben Colvin, 70 overall, is their quarterback. And what does that mean for Eli Arrington, who demands the football? In 2 games, 5 catches, 57 yards, and a touchdown. Morale is already down to 49, so it's not in like a dangerous spot. But we'll keep an eye on Eli Arrington, who does not start very quickly this season. But they have signed him. That was to be expected. We traded him to a spot where he would be a fit, and Arrington got his extension. Looks like 4 years, $130 million. I'm sorry, $131 million. In a stretch of games where we try to get this season on track, we'll have matchups against Tennessee, division game, the Bengals, of course a great team, and then the Colts, another division matchup. And that one victory for us now isn't looking so good because it was against the worst team arguably in the AFC. We shall see what's to come in Season 5 with the Jaguars franchise, and next episode is a big one to determine what our direction of this season is going to be. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section on what we should do to get this back on track. Please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you again with more Jaguars franchise throughout the week. Have a great day.